Here we are with Crash Bandicoot again, and before we continue with Island 2, I figured I'd demonstrate in the best possible way how badly designed these levels are for time trials. Basically, you either have maddeningly precise platinum relics, like the likes of Native Fortress or Sunset Vista or Stormy Ascent, or you have shit like this, where the platinum relic is practically handed to you.
Like Agapus Rex in the original?
Yeah, and because I am so good at these boulder stages, like, that I don't even have to try anymore. Like, all I have to do in order to get the platinum relic is literally do the same thing I showed you the first time I passed through. Except, like,
and just
not
hit the
stop
boxes.
for the boxes. Yeah, just not stop for the boxes when I'm in the shelter areas.
Yeah.
Just keep
Question, I'm pretty sure John might know. Does wiggling still work in this game?
No.
Nope.
I tried it extensively. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but I have not noticed any speed.
What's wiggling?
Basically, you rotate. You don't not really rotate. You kind of jitter left and right while you're moving forward, and because that cuts down, I think, on animation time, you move faster.
While jumping specifically, if you're jumping forward while zigzagging between left and right, for some odd reason, whatever the reason it may be, Crash saw a minor increase in speed.
That was Crash 1 specific, though, right?
It was in 2.
It was in all three. It was in all three games.
It was just most practical. It was just most practical in 1 because he had no other means of speeding up.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something. I mean, this is more topical for Crash 2 and 3, but there are still some glitches that still work in Sane Trilogy.
Yeah.
Hello, Lou.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say lewd. I don't know why, but that's 4 letters.
Well, it would be interesting if I could say that because there's only 3 letters.
Yeah, because LUD would just be Lud.
Yeah. So, like, I literally ran through that level the same way I did to get the gem, and I got the platinum.
You got a platinum?
That was my second take for this recording, but only because the first attempt I stumbled at the end and missed the platinum by exactly a tenth of a second. It was really frustrating. Ugh. Anyway, Temple Ruins. I have childhood memories of this level. And I'm...
Well, don't you have childhood memories of every game?
Huh?
Don't you have childhood memories of every game?
No. No. I don't have very many childhood memories of Crash Bandicoot 1, mostly because I only played through it like once or twice. But this level specifically has a fond place in my heart, not because of any of the level design aspects, but because when I played it through the first time I was at my grandparents' house, and I like 90% of my clear childhood memories are in that goddamn house because it's like where like I really liked my grandparents well, both sets of grandparents, but this set of grandparents specifically had a Windows 3.11 PC up in the upstairs guest room that I played Wolfenstein 3D's shareware version on, and that was my introduction to first-person shooters. When it comes to Crash, I was playing it in the living room, right? And I was just casually playing through this level as a little 7-year-old youngin', and listening to my dad, who hasn't gamed seriously since the Atari 5200, and my grandparents, who don't know gaming at all, just, you know, talking casually about how far games have come. It's as simple as that. That's the extent of the memory.
Well, I mean, that's a story that I'm pretty sure every generation of consoles has to some regard.
Yeah, but it's especially fun for me because my dad is the kind of person who, whenever I have a conversation with him nowadays, I have to explain something incredibly basic about video games. Like, when I was talking about my latest run through Resident Evil 4, keeping in mind this was like during the PlayStation 3 era, I was talking about Resident Evil 4.
All right, son, you play as Mario.
He was asking me
Mario.
why I play because he was still under the impression that video games just never end. Like I said, he's an Atari kid. So, I had to actually explain that games have stories now, and they have endings, and you're playing through an adventure. It's endearingly embarrassing.
That took... Games had stories and endings as early as 1985.
I know, that's what makes it dazzling.
Wow, son, they have stories in books now? Back in my day, we just wrote down farming materials in them.
Yeah, like he got me my first Sega Genesis. Well, not my first Sega Genesis, more our first Sega Genesis. It was a shared system. But his last proper system was the Atari 5200, and I explicitly remember him saying he liked the idea of the Wii because the games were simple.
And meanwhile, Nintendo just hears cha-ching.
Yeah, he was that.
Get this guy out of marketing department.
Yeah, because the minigame nature of things reminded him of the Atari days. It's probably not the same appeal as the rest of the casual Wii market, but that was his take on it. So, yeah. But
all our parents are kind of like that, although it's kind of weird to different degrees because, I mean, both my parents have beaten the original Super Mario Brothers.
Well, yeah.
My mother used to kick my ass in Street Fighter 2 as Chun-Li.
Oh, my mom still kicks my ass at Miss Pac-Man.
My aunt, God rest her soul, she used to play Miss Pac-Man 2 all the time, and yeah, she would constantly whip our asses.
When I was a kid, actually, this is one of my memories. We were taking a plane to Disney World for the first time we were ever going to Disney World, and on my Game Boy Color at that time, I had Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, which is like the Game Boy version of Puzzle League. And my mom took my Game Boy. My mom was like, "Hey, can I play for a little bit?" And I'm like, "Sure." And then I didn't get to play the Game Boy for the rest of the flight because she was too busy playing the game. And my mom never plays video games either, so it was a weird
It was always the
thing.
simple shit that my parents were just inherently better than me in some regard. I always found it a little weird. Like, I can play Mario and Sonic better than they could ever do in their lives, but for something like Tetris or Pac-Man, for the love of me, I don't know how they do it.
Well, it's just the kind of games that they had a chance to get used to before we did.
Very true. Well, in Pac-Man's case, yeah, I would agree. With Tetris, though, I don't know. I mean, I think I was 2 years old when Tetris was a thing.
Well, Pac-Man is easy. You just have to hold the direction you want to turn before you get to the turn.
Well, that's what I'm doing wrong. Fuck me.
What is this joystick?
Yeah, childhood memories. Childhood memories relating to my parents and video games are a particular treat. Like,
well, I guess to bring it back to Crash, John, what's your first memory of the first Crash game?
Okay, it was 1996, right when the year the game came out. But it wasn't the first game. It was actually an underground demo disc that had Crash 1 in it, and I remember it was Jungle Rollers. And the green gem was already unlocked from Lost City.
Yeah.
Which was deceptive because I was thinking that's how it was going to be in the original game, and it wasn't, and I was sad. But yeah, Jungle Rolls is the first thing I ever played in Crash 1, and I thought it was so visually beautiful. You know, I was like 9 years old at the time, so I was easily stimulated visually by a lot of things. And I remember just liking the game a lot, and eventually we got the game. Because that was after my dad traded in my Super Nintendo and most of my games without telling me to get a PlayStation 1 for the family. It's fine, I guess, because I ended up really falling in love with the console. But,
oh, no, I'd still be
the rest
pissed
is
that my
history.
dad traded away all my games. It's just like, okay,
Yeah, but-
son, I traded in all of your VHS tapes so we can get a DVD player in one movie. It's like,
I don't even know if my dad still has my old comic collection. I hope he does, but...
If it's Archie Comics, like Sonic Archie Comics,
No.
you gotta get eventual
There's old
gold mine in there.
Superman comics and DC comics and occasional Spider-Man
Oh,
comics.
Mullet Man?
A few old X-Men comics, maybe.
Oh, please tell me it's Mullet Man.
Mullet Man, Electric Superman, the works.
Nice.
I even had
Nice.
Superman's wedding special.
can't you,
With Mullet?
in this level, can't you jump on the ropes and not have to play the level?
That's what he just did earlier.
Yeah, but you see,
Right
the
here.
problem with that is it's even more precise than jumping on the goddamn planks. So it's like, pick your poison. Do you want to make a lot of precise jumps, or do you want to make one really precise jump?
These levels are the worst in the Sane Trilogy.
Yes.
The absolute worst.
Because of your hitbox change.
Yeah, it's... Again, we went into it, but it's...
Hey, I
because
made the jump
endear-
this time.
I know, you made that's great. Just keep doing that over and over, and that platinum will be yours, son. But, oh my god, it's because... And just to make sure, like, I went back to my original Crash 1 Let's Play on SGB, and I didn't die nearly as often as I did here in the Insane Trilogy, and it's all because of how they changed Crash's hitbox. It's an oval, it's not a box.
Pity mask. Pity mask.
which doesn't mean anything because you're falling down bottomless pits.
Well, it does help you get past the boars, but that just makes certain jumps easier.
So, if you're playing for the time trial, what happens if you die? Do you have to start the whole level all over again?
Fuck!
Yep.
Yes.
This is
At that point, just play the level normally.
This is where I start slide montaging my deaths.
Well, you got a level 2 pity.
Yeah.
That'll help you when you fall.
That'll definitely save you from another bottomless pit.
It's another change to Crash 1, because Crash 1 did not have the pity masks or the pity continue boxes. They were a feature of Crash 2 and 3, but not Crash 1. Well, not the original.
Crash 1.
Not the original.
Crash 1. Crash 1. No, Crash 1 had the pity yakus.
I think it had it for the bosses only, but
no,
Vicarious
they were in the
Vision
actual levels.
They were in levels. They were no. What the Vicarious Visions are lying because they were definitely in the original game. I remember specifically saying in the original playthrough, it's particularly during the lab, that I said I was going to deliberately kill myself just so I can get the Akus and make it less stressful.
Yeah, but you know what? That doesn't work anymore in the lab because of the Taunt bonus stage.
Well, if you get through the tunnel without dying, you can still keep
if
the
you
mask.
get all of the boxes without dying. But here's the thing.
You
that's
just gotta,
the Taunt.
you gotta get.
That's
you have to get.
No, that's the Taunt stage with the arrow box above the other arrow box, and the
Yeah,
maddeningly precise bounce that you have to make to get above it. But
if you get it
know,
right
I'm
on
complaining
your first
for
try,
nothing.
it's good.
I'm complaining for nothing as far as this playthrough is concerned, because spoiler alert, I got 2 Aku Aku masks from Insanity Beach before going into the lab, and my run through the lab was perfect.
So it was unnecessary.
Yes.
The game is on now. This is so fun.
Ugh. D-pad hype. This is the only time during the Crash 1 remake where I actually use the D-pad. And I still fuck up.
No, this is the only time you use the D-pad, Lewis. No, I play all 3 games with the D-pad.
Yeah, I refuse to use. I refuse.
That's how awkward the hitbox collision detection is in this. Like, I swear I didn't have a problem with the ropes in the original either. Because I'm pretty sure they had squarish hitboxes too.
Yeah. But before we go any further, high five John for a D-pad club.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
fuck.
I know. Maybe it's because we played the original game so many times with the D-pad. Even in Crash 3, when DualShock was already a thing, and I loved the vibration of the controller for Crash.
Yeah, I still use the D-pad.
Still use the D-pad because I feel the most comfortable with that in these games.
Okay, here's a question: is it possible to get over to the area behind the warp point without taking the gem?
In this level, I don't think so. You can get past the exits in the original Crash 1 in the gate levels, I believe, through some very precise standing.
That's true, yes. For this level particularly, I don't know. Even then, would it matter because there are 2 red gem pathways in the Road to Nowhere.
You're
One
right.
that you clearly can't make on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Fuck.
so it's something to consider. It may be the comment section will already answer by the time this part goes up, but I don't know. Never thought of it.
Huh. Oh, well. Time for another boulder level, and I am in my element. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I love holding down.
Well, like I say, it's kind of like playing a Sonic game, only it's not so fast. Same general reaction speed, though. Boulder Dash, unfortunately, is a level that requires the purple gem, a color gem that requires the yellow gem to obtain. So this is probably going to be
to get to the yellow gem, you have to beat all of Street Fighter 2's arcade mode without losing a single match, and then Fenlong will appear.
Might as well, since it's the lab you're playing. But the problem of that is, like, the Boulder Dash level is one of the simplest levels in the game, with like one of the easiest gem paths, and because of it needing the purple gem, it's probably one of the last gems you get. So it's kind of like a flaccid, floppy dick fart at the end of the game. It's like,
okay, that's something I'd never thought I'd hear you say in your lifetime. Flaccid, floppy. What the fuck?
I don't know.
That sounds like a rejected AVGN.
That sounds like something Matt would say while drunk.
Oh no, you're not great at these levels. You just died.
This game is a Bandicoot's asshole. This game is a floppy, flaccid dick fart.
That wouldn't have happened if the hitboxes were the same, because like the problem is the oval hitbox that Crash has causes you to sometimes fall off the edge of a box when you're bouncing on it. And it happens so much with the goddamn bouncy boxes. And I fell off the box, and it pushed me into the explosion radius at the last possible second there. Ugh. But yeah, this being literally gem number 26 during this playthrough was odd. Especially since I played the Great Gate right before it, and that was a kind of pretty tough challenge.
I see. I get them on the way towards the first island, so the Great Gate ends up being my last gem most of the time.
Yeah. And by the way, the one place where frame drops happen in the vanilla PS4, when you're running this on the vanilla PS4, the frame drops happen on the trip down into the gem path because it's so goddamn luminous. And it's not even as luminous as it was in the original game. It's just very bloomy, and it fucks with the vanilla PS4's hardware.
Bloom!
Curse you, J.J. Abrams.
Sunset Vista, the level everyone used to dread, but is just kind of annoyingly long now.
What was so bad about it before?
Because of the no-death rule and the length of the level, and the fact that it
the
also
Cortex
got
tokens.
A Cortex bonus stage that you had one shot at to get the key. Yeah, so basically removing all of those time-wasting constraints makes Sunset Vista kind of a comfortable challenge now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sunset Vista had a beta version that was ridiculously, stupidly hard, though.
Which I think is going to be part of the remade levels thing.
Probably. But
I wouldn't mind it. Thing is, though, like, what if they were to implement it for the Insane Trilogy, do you think they would just call it Beta Sunset Vista, or would they, like, give it like another name?
Who knows?
Or maybe like Sunset Vista version 1.0.
Nah.
Sunrise Vista?
No. Call it Sunset 7.
Sunset 7.
No one.
Nope.
No one
I don't get
it. It's a Windows joke.
Oh, now I get it.
God damn it, Harley! If you have to explain the joke, it's not funny. These jumping lizards are a pain in the ass. Mostly because you have to jump on them to get boxes, and if you jump on them and don't get the box, in the original version it means starting the level over again. In this version, it means suiciding, going back to the last checkpoint, which is almost as annoying, but not as annoying.
And you have so many lives in the game, it's really negligible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, time wasted.
Yeah, you could be, I don't know, doing your taxes, finishing that novel you've been working on.
Doing your taxes. Why do you say doing your taxes? No one knows how to do their own taxes. My parents don't know how to do their own taxes. Every time I ask how to do my taxes, I'm just like, dude, the answer is invariably use a tax service.
Yeah.
They should teach that shit in school, man.
They don't want to teach you anything useful in schools, is the thing.
Yeah, if they were going to teach something useful in school, they'd teach you how to beat Road to Nowhere and Crash.
Now that's something I can get down with.
Ugh. The reason they don't want you doing your own taxes is because if they let you do your own stuff or encourage you to do your own stuff, you're going to make
Places
mistakes.
go to business.
And they're going to have to deal with it. Ugh.
Yeah, or their companies based on doing people's taxes or fixing your cars in the auto shops or whatever.
Yeah, but the IRS
if you know how to
don't
do
give a
it.
shit about that. They just don't want to have to put up with human error.
No, I'm talking about the the actual companies that do that stuff for you.
Yeah, but they don't decide what the schools do. Ugh.
No, they can't. It's
IRS
called
already
lobbying.
has to do with a lot of other shit. But it's like I dread every year when I have to call them for to set up tax plans and all that sort of thing. But at the same time, I don't get angry at the people I talk to on the phone because they're just doing their job.
Yeah.
And God knows they gotta deal with a lot of other shit. So.
Now this platform tended to kill me a lot in the original.
I really like how there was an IRS tangent. The Crash Bandicoot one and playthrough.
John, you've been part of this commentary channel for what, 8 years now?
A lot of years now. We're approaching 10 years.
Oh,
Goddamn.
fuck. Jesus fuck.
That platform, which is now so far behind that I can't actually visually demonstrate what I was trying to say, that platform tended to kill me a lot because the hurt box of the flames in the original would clip through the platform and kill me. I think they altered the timing of the platform rotation so that that wouldn't happen. If so, good. Because fuck that platform. Ugh.
These just oh, go ahead, Senator.
So, okay, so I know very little about Crash. They changed the control for Crash 1. I know, so it controls... What about the original Crash 1 control was bad or different?
It was just...
The jump.
It was just not... It was a little too heavy, a little too imprecise.
Crash was very dopey in the original game.
Yeah, they tightened up the precision of movement control in Crash 2, and to accommodate that, they made the level designs in Crash 2 a lot more movement intensive. So you're using your D-pad / analog stick to maneuver around obstacles a lot more in Crash 2 than you were in this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does the changing control make this easier to play, or...
Yes and no.
In a lot of places, it makes it easier. In some very specific places, it makes things harder. On the whole, the game is easier. It's just like the difficulty spikes are in different places now, though.
And way more apparent.
Oh, fuck.
You can still get it if you jump.
Yeah, if you just...
Oh, how the hell did you survive that first one? How did you survive that first one?
Well, no, that's called using the third dimension.
Yeah, remember, in Crash Bandicoot, the 2D sections aren't really 2D sections.
I know, but you were still pushed out of the thing, and you were able to push yourself forward after you were pushed out.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you're still moving forward and you jump, so you can
As
just move
long
yourself
as
back
you're
in.
above the death line down there, you can push yourself back onto the platform. You just need time to do it. And in fact, there are a lot of apparently tight timing sections in this level, like that, for example, where you might just get slightly pushed out by the platform. If you just remember to catch yourself and correct the jump, you'll be fine. It's not as hard as it seems.
To discredit Sane Trilogy for a bit, they did change the rules for certain 2D levels.
Yeah, they locked you
It's more
on.
apparent in Crash 2. Yeah, especially in Crash 2's case.
What about is it piston it away or?
Yeah.
Piston it away, cold hard crash, like the pretty much any time you're in a 2D plane, they lock you in a 2D plane, which wasn't the case in the original.
They don't necessarily lock you into a 2D plane. What they do is they put an invisible wall in front of the area so you can't pass off the level.
I say locking in the place because it's pretty much the same result.
It's the same result, but you can still like maneuver around in the Z-axis. You just can't jump off the platform to jump around stuff.
And as a consequence of that, there are certain things you can no longer do that you could do in the original game, like using the Z-axis to manipulate past obstacles.
Yeah. Ugh. And that's annoying. Like, I hope if they patch the game at any point, they correct that, because I don't approve of that change. But, yeah. Ugh. The Cortex stages are basically the same thing the Embryo stages are. It's just that at the end of them, it's just that instead of a fuck ton of lives, your reward for completing the Cortex stage is a key.
A new level.
Yeah, there are 2 Cortex stages and there are 2 keys, and the keys unlock new levels that are 1 stage to the immediate left on the world map. Speaking of the world map, the second island is actually reversed for some reason in this game, presumably because they didn't want people holding right and then going back and forth without paying attention. Although, I don't necessarily agree with accommodating people on that, because if you're doing that, you're just stupid.
No, there are sometimes, like, if it just makes it easier, like if you're not thinking, you press the button and then you go into one room and then you try to press a different button to go back into the other room, but that button sends you in
There's
the
a
direction
long-ass
you weren't
transition animation when you go between islands, so you basically have no excuse for that.
Yeah, but everybody's always looking at their phone when the game's loading anyway, so they're probably not even paying attention.
It's not a
when
load time, and it's not long enough to look at your phone. It's just long
Well,
enough
no,
to say,
the load
hey, we're
time
changing
during the
islands
load
now.
time before the transition, you're looking
There's
at
no
your
load
phone.
time. It's just
I've
one
seen plenty of load times in this game.
No, there's no load time on the map screen. It's one continuous scrolling map. So, yeah.
People are lazy.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily agree with the developer trend of accommodating that laziness by patronizing everyone else.
I like being lazy. It's my favorite thing.
That explains why you haven't done a certain number of playthroughs.
And I would try to be more lazy, but that's too much work.
Oh, come on, Crash. Let's see how we can smash these crates. This is where one of the jumping puzzles gets really precise. Now, unlike the vertical sections in Native Fortress and Great Gate, you actually do have some hazards to fall into here. You can land on the flaming torches. It's not likely that you'll land on them. In fact, if you fall, it's better to fall toward the middle. But,
Yep.
Yeah. Otherwise, you risk being a Plinko machine.
Yeah, sometimes you just do have bad luck in those sections and land on the fire. So, that didn't work.
Why did you? All you had to do was jump on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you wanted to spin it, I guess, out of habit.
Yeah, I spinned out of habit, and it turns out that causes you to bounce back. So, don't do that. A super important learning experience there. Anyway, yeah, a lot of these 2D levels have a fuck lot of lives at the end of the level for some reason.
That's an apology.
An apology.
Well, in the original, it was an apology.
An apology for all the intense platforming challenges you have to do in the 2D levels, because they seem to be the levels that have the most timing-intensive stuff in them. But yeah. 8 gems, 1 key. Now we're making progress. Oh, enjoy the Japanese Crash Bandicoot commercial.
Buy our game.
死んでる。
皆さん、転校生のクラッシュ君です。クラッシュ君は踊りを少々やるそうだ。クラッシュダンシング。
先生、クラッシュ君なんで服着ていないんですか？
高木、人は見かけで判断しちゃいけないぞ。こう見えてクラッシュ君は英雄なんだぞ。クラッシュダンシング。
先生、僕の後ろにです。
君は秀夫だ。英雄じゃない。クラッシュダンシング。
教室で踊るのは良くないと思います。教室で踊るのは良くないと思います。教室で踊るのは良くないと思います。
Yeah, I'm gonna make that a continuous thing for this playthrough because I'm just stupid like that.
Hey, if you want to add more work to yourself, by all means.